Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of How Did This Get Booked? I, of course, am your host, Jake Manning. I'm a veteran of the professional wrestling business for over a decade, and I've held every single job except selling popcorn. I'm joined by a man who's not breathing heavy into the microphone.
I'm so goddamn self-conscious about it now from the last episode. I can't even...
You mean the next episode?
Oh, yeah, the next episode.
The next episode.
God damn you.
That's already...
What's up, Jake? It's Zane. Hey, guys. Hey, everyone. Zane's here. Fuck your intro.
Yeah, okay. Well, fuck my intro.
Fuck your intro.
Fuck your intro. But I'm going to go a wonderful intro to our returning guests, the people that... when we did a recap show last year, and we were talking about things that we really wanted to do for the next year, and one of the top things was to bring back Ramon Perez and Kaleigh Cutright.
Oh man, I feel like I have like a big belt right now.
There's probably a big belt here.
Yeah,
So
I'll buy you one.
Can I get me a big belt?
I'm wearing a belt today.
Where's your big belt at,
have a
Ramon?
It's a championship, okay? A belt is what your father uses to hold his pants up, okay?
Excuse me. So wait, the article of clothing itself is called... Not clothing. I'm just screwing this whole thing up.
Yeah.
No,
It's
fine.
called
Now
a
we're going to talk
championship.
about the next recap show, talk about how we can't have you back, just Ramon. Of course, that helps since you guys broke up on the way in here.
Yeah, it was ugly.
Yeah, you ran
Well,
in.
it's pretty
Kaleigh
bad.
ran in, said she broke up with Ramon, and we all took Ramon's side immediately.
What did you do?
Yeah, it was crazy because I kicked the door and I was like, "Where the fuck is she?" And it's like, "He's right." They both said it. He's right.
That's right.
She had it
We
coming.
pointed right
I know
at
what
her.
happened,
Like, she's
but-
right there.
Well, thanks for still being civil enough to do this podcast with me.
Well, you know.
I appreciate it.
I thank you both for honoring your commitments,
Yeah.
even though there's a burning rage between the two of you right now.
Oh yeah, the
You
sex
guys-
is going to be so hot later and so wrong.
Yeah, with other people.
What did you think I was talking about?
Ramon,
No,
if
I
you're
was
still looking for
clarifying.
somebody, I'm
Damn
right
it,
here,
Zane!
buddy.
I was just about to hit on you.
No.
Fuck.
Sorry. You got to deal with Man Scout. You got to be on an app to find him, though.
No, you don't.
I think there's an app called Man Scout.
It is.
Actually.
Oh, man. Look that one up. That should have been our fucking...
I found it on my way in. I was walking in. I'm like, all right, let me just get on the rebound real quick.
Real quick.
Scouting for men.
Less than 1 mile away.
All right, Jake, let's wrap this up.
That's another edition of How This Get Booked.
She's
I've got a
ovulating.
meeting with Horny for you.
Eagle Scout.
Yeah.
Eagle Scout Dick Slinger, is that you?
Scout
Yeah, definitely
That's
me.
my D&D name.
D&E is a dick in this dick.
Dicks and Dungeons, motherfucker.
Well, that's what I'm meeting the next week.
New podcast we're working on.
Yeah, so I think we just pretty much wrap it up now. Like,
Yeah,
it's not going to
this
get
is-
any better than what we just said.
Yeah.
This is why. This is why. I
Unfortunately,
wanted
wrestling's getting ready to pop in here. and
I
ruin
know.
everything.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know quite how to shoehorn it in because, like, just this conversation.
Fuck
it
it.
was
That's
so.
how this ends.
It was so fun last time. I was like, I just want to bring you guys back.
Stop
in.
saying that. The pressure is too much.
I'm building the pressure up. I'm building it all
Oh,
up.
no, we are
A little
fabulous.
pressure cooker.
Much like there was all this build for this pay-per-view, which was only to build to the next pay-per-view, as we'll find out, because our topic of discussion today is WWF Survivor Series 1991, which took place in Detroit, Michigan at the Joe Louis Arena, which is a very common place for shows we discuss here on the podcast. We've discussed many Halloween Havocs that happened at the Joe Louis Arena, but this particular show happened November 27th, 1991, which was actually on Thanksgiving Eve as opposed to Thanksgiving Day. Attendance for the show was 17,500. The buy rate for it, which was bought by 300,000 to compare it with other shows that have happened in the Joe Louis Arena. Halloween Havoc 1995, 13,000 people attended that show. 1994, Halloween Havoc, 14,000 people appeared on that show. To give you context of where it was in 1991, so SummerSlam 1991 in Madison Square Garden was 20,000 people, so this is very much on par with everything that was happening in 1991. But also, to give context, where am I looking at here? I had all kinds of ideas. As far as Survivor Series goes, this is actually where we start to see a bit of a downward tick in Survivor Series buy rates and stuff like that. Actually, no, this is where we start to see the downward tick is at this particular point in 1990. There was 400,000 buys. 89 saw roughly about the same. And this is the low, and it kept going down every single year until 1998. So this is the beginning of the downward spiral of WWE. And they're trying all types of different things.
Thanks for thinking of us.
But that's why it's on this show. And basically, as we're going to find out throughout this show, Survivor Series, which is normally one of the flagship pay-per-views, is basically just used to launch Tuesday in Texas pay-per-view.
And don't worry, this podcast was taking a tick down long before you guys came back. So.
Thank you.
You're
So
welcome.
I appreciate it.
Rock on.
So basically, this whole show is just an advertisement for the show that they have coming up on Tuesday, and that's where we start. It's like
Jake.
This was this, when it comes to pay-per-views. There was WrestleMania, and then this show appeared on pay-per-view. Mm-hmm. So this is like the second pay-per-view event they have, and then they're just now downgrading it to using it as an advertisement for a Tuesday pay-per-view. But it did have a nice tagline in that this was the tagline for the event was the Gravest Challenge.
I wish it would have said Gravyest.
The Gravyest. It's
what
right
a missed
around
opportunity.
Yeah, because it's a Thanksgiving time.
No, you could definitely could have done that. It could have been like the Gravyest and the Gravest Challenge.
Or
Just go back in time and do
-est.
It would have been cool if the Undertaker called Hulk Hogan a turkey the whole time.
Oh yeah.
It's like, you just stay still, you turkey. Does he even talk?
Yes, he does at the very end. And actually, I'm surprised you don't remember that. Remember we were talking, because Ramon, before we hit record, you said
you completely disqualified yourself from this entire podcast.
Completely disqualified yourself as a non-wrestling fan. And said that you watched this pay-per-view as a child.
I was alive back then.
Were you there?
I was. No.
Oh, I
was
so win. I wasn't even born.
It was like 6 days before my 11th birthday. And about a year and a half before Kaleigh was born. So.
What app did you find her on?
Young and dumb.
Also man scouting, yeah.
She found him.
We just kind of bumped into each other, yeah.
It was a skating rink. It was real weird that he was there, but
I was like, "You'll do." And I just like grabbed her. And
I was on wheels. What are you gonna do? I mean, it's like, I guess. Like,
I wasn't good at skating. I couldn't get away. He chased me. I just kept going in a circle. He just waited for me to come back.
All I could do was just hang onto the rail and push myself around. That's all I could do. So I couldn't really get away.
I will go with you as long as you're not a wrestling fan.
And he was like,
"Ooh, here we are."
Watch it.
Lies continue.
I will go with you as long as there's a railing I can hold on to, because I still have skates on my feet. So please do that.
I gotta be back at school on Monday though, so get me back.
But before we get into the discussion of this pay-per-view, another piece of information is actually the dark match on this show was Chris Chavis, who later became Tatanka, took on Kato, who was actually Paul Diamond when he was a part of the Orient Express.
All right.
So what we had on a show just before Thanksgiving, you had a guy that would end up playing a Native American taking on a white man who was pretending to be Asian.
So perfect.
I love it.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Built the railroads.
So. And I'm thankful for that.
Yeah. And smallpox.
Do you own stock in Norfolk Southern? Or
I can't discuss that until the year 2020, actually. Yeah. It's just kind of like a whole...
That's when everything matures.
Yeah.
Including her.
Did you get some hush money all of a sudden from a railroad baron?
Yeah. So I can't fucking talk about it.
All right.
I'm actually Kaleigh Cutright tonight, so we're going to have to go dub that.
Go back.
All right, we do all kinds of editing.
Don, Central Studios take care of that.
Can we put like one of those things over her voice?
Yeah, where she sounds like a robot.
One of those mufflers right here.
We'll even put one of the blurs over her face.
He's only asking for masturbatory purposes.
Yeah, I get it.
I get it. I mean,
make her put on like.
Let me introduce you to this new thing I found out a little bit ago called Tube Galore. It's going to be a callback from an episode that ain't even happened yet.
It has not. It has not. It's actually our sponsor next week.
Yeah.
Tube Galore.
Tube Galore. Keep an eye out. In here.
A call forward.
Yeah.
Call forward.
That's
what we do at How Did This Go, but we do call forward. It's not calls back. You know.
Tune in next week to see how funny that is.
How really good this joke will go over.
And speaking of tuning in next week, that's how we start this pay-per-view. By like saying, hey, tune in next week to come see Jake the Snake Roberts take on Macho Man Randy Savage.
No snakes, though.
Because we're taking it the fuck away from you tonight.
Yeah, no snakes.
And also, speaking of overdubbing,
they don't have snakes in Texas.
We get to see overdubbing of Liz screaming. Like, I don't know if you picked that up. They clearly were overdubbing there.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I could pick up on it. I got trained ear, trained
Is
eye.
that where their mouths are moving? Is like a Japanese film and they're like, oh my goodness!
It was more of a situation like you heard a lot of like, ah!
Okay.
And she wasn't screaming.
Yes.
And she wasn't like
I watched part of it at work. Like, as soon as you sent it to me, I was excited. And I watched part of it at work and didn't get my earbuds fully plugged into my phone yet. So there was like a lot of like people looking at me like, is she watching porn like right
here?
now?
Like,
it was, I don't even remember what time of day it was.
Did some of it go over the air?
No, I work in radio, but I'm not important enough to be on air all the time.
I mean,
so this is when I was behind the scenes, but yeah, that was great. I think I know what you're talking about, where there's like a lot of noises that could be like misconstrued. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Basically, what the misconstrued sounds are coming from was the classic angle of Macho Man Randy Savage being bit by Jake the Snake Roberts' snake.
Yeah.
Who, by the way, I truly not a wrestling fan, had heard of him, heard of like people that liked him, but never got to see him. So this was exciting.
Jake the Snake?
He is Macho Man Randy Savage.
Ooh,
and I feel like did he have a cereal at some point or something? Because like
he was a Slim Jim guy.
Okay, yeah. I recognize him from some kind of branding, and this was my first time actually getting to watch him, and I was like, oh my god, you're just as theatrical as I would have expected you to be.
The Slim Jim. And he had a rap album, but I mean...
Yeah, we talked about that on a different podcast.
Yeah,
next week
I'll call forward.
Okay.
I'll call forward. Call forward.
But that was truly exciting. This assignment was in particular exciting because there was a couple of wrestlers, bigger ones that I had heard of and never gotten to see, and one of them was Macho Man Randy Savage.
So you were excited to see Macho Man Randy Savage, and like, wow, I'm going to get to wrestle him. Nope, no you don't, because he's going to wrestle this Tuesday in Texas.
$49.99.95.
As decreed by Jack Tunney,
fucking president,
who basically says like, oh, well, I don't think this was an accident. Motherfucker, no way this is a fucking accident. This snake fucking didn't get loose. Like, did you not see the footage, Jack Tunney?
I hope that snake's devenomized.
Like, yeah, like
he's dead.
It was very Keystone's Cop-ish, and like I felt like it drug on much longer than it needed to be. And then Roddy Piper on the outside going, "Oh gosh, I go get him! Oh no, that's the snake! Oh no, I get it! Oh no, oh no!"
Even the snake was like, "Come on."
Yeah,
like Macho Man's like, "This snake just keeps biting me, and I'm not gonna do anything about it."
I can't even grab it. I'm paralyzed with fear.
Yeah. Well, this is also maybe literally paralyzed.
Really paralyzed. This thing wasn't devenomized. Fuck.
This is the classic angle where they talked about when this was discussed that Macho Man was getting bit by the snake. Macho Man, being a guy who didn't trust anybody, didn't trust that Jake Roberts had this devenomized snake, and he made Jake the Snake Roberts get bit by the snake and told him he couldn't walk away. Couldn't leave the room. He had to sit there and watch and make sure that he didn't die so he could trust Jake the Snake Roberts to have this snake bite him. Now, this story is coming.
Snake.
This is coming from Jake the Snake Roberts, which a lot of his stories are over-exaggerated. Like,
I could see it, though.
Like he maybe just asked to see the snake. And he's like, he made me get
fuck this snake.
Bitten. Snake had to fuck me, actually.
I mean, I could see it. Like, if somebody just brings a cobra into the room and it's like, this is going to bite you. I'm like...
God.
No, it's not. It's not. I'm not gonna get this. We could, no. Let it bite you first.
Yeah, let's see if you live.
The fact that anyone was willing to get bitten by a snake, venomous or not, was awesome because like you hear all these stories about wrestling being fake or whatever. At least that part was real, and that I fucking respect that. That was real.
Yeah, I don't love wrestling at all, let alone enough to let someone bite me with a snake.
Did you do that?
Fuck no, never.
Oh, okay.
No, not a chance. Never, not a chance.
Yeah, so that's like that dedication.
Even if you were like, I'll let it bite me
Jim.
first. Yeah, he totally had. He was hopped up on fake meat.
Maybe the area he bit wasn't a real arm. It was like a decoy arm
cobra, dude.
Made of Slim Jim.
That's the only way they can get the snake to bite.
Yeah, bite me, whatever, it's fine.
Snap into it, snake.
Just Slim Jim oil, just like his arm.
He had a protective Slim Jim covering over his actual arm.
Like a casing that they
use.
Like the casing.
He's like, there's no way you're getting through this.
Pig intestine.
There's no fucking movie.
You know how many people's teeth we break in here at Slim Jim? There's no way you can snap into it.
Macho Man is 78% Slim Jim. It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. Speaking of things that are fine, match number 1 is a traditional Survivor Series match with team captain Ric Flair and his team of the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, the Mountie, and the Warlord, taking on a team led by Rowdy Roddy Piper with British Bulldog, Virgil, and Bret the Hitman Hart.
Virgil, I love it. It's just like
You
all
mean,
these great names, and then there's also
Virgil.
Virgil.
And Virgil's here.
Virgil will be there.
Who's got a new name now in wrestling? Soul Train Jones.
Oh wow!
Oh wow.
That's not a new name. That's his old
That's
name.
his
Oh, is it old
porn name.
They brought that back for him. Then.
They brought that back around.
Oh.
They brought all that back around for him.
Just
Say
Soul
Soul
Train
Train Jones.
Soul
Virgil
Train
sounds
Jones.
like someone that was like all the kids were going out, all the wrestling kids, and then Virgil's mom was like, "Take Virgil too." Like you have to bring Virgil.
Wait, Mom! You nailed it.
Yeah.
You nailed exactly who fucking Virgil is.
Every bit of Virgil.
That is the best way to describe fucking Virgil.
Which would come back to show in the Lonely Virgil photos, if you've ever seen those.
No.
Which is just Virgil at a wrestling convention with like lines of people at the people beside him, and just him by himself with like his head down. And it
Classic
says,
Virgil.
"See Wrestling Superstar Virgil" on a sign.
No,
Nope, no one did.
Yeah, that happened.
Meat sauce.
no, thank you.
Also, I didn't realize before this that there were like wrestling gangs, which seems fun.
Yeah, the gang war.
I've never been part of wrestling or gangs, and now I kind of want to be part of both.
You could be in a boat.
Tribe. It's like
Well, you could
Yeah.
also be like a valet because all the heels had their own valet
Yeah.
or manager coming out with them. You had,
oh yeah.
they had Mr. Perfect, Harvey Whippleman, Jimmy Hart, Sherry Martel.
Paul Bearer was out there.
Yeah,
choking,
later on,
Hulk
yeah,
Hogan a
yeah,
little
Just
bit.
about. And then, of course, like Ric Flair being the real world's champion because of the time he has the NWA world title with him. But, of course, they're
Yeah,
having
that blurred to shit like a dick out there.
Yeah, it
that was
looks like he
awesome.
blurred his dick, but
Yeah.
but you could also tell that he was holding up a WWE tag belt, which was probably super confusing for the live audience.
Yeah, what is going on?
Yeah, because they're going to see the Road Warriors carry out that same exact belt later on, but, you know.
Tune in next week.
There you go.
Next week.
See you Tuesday.
This Tuesday in Texas, you're going to find that out. So,
So
When did the lawsuit happen? WWF, the World Wildlife Federation. What year was that? 'Cause I remember being
in the
WWF.
2000s-ish, I think. I almost said 2001 or 2000, something like that. I think around that time, 2002 at the latest. But I think it was 2001.
I remember thinking when that happened, it was like I didn't watch wrestling or anything, but it's like it's at this point.
Yeah, what you been waiting
Nobody
on?
thinks of you when somebody says WWF. They think of the Wrestling Federation.
I always find it funny because people are always like, "Oh, I stopped caring when they stopped calling it WWF," as if anything changed.
Yeah,
The only thing that changed was the logo.
yeah. You
Like
don't
I,
like letters.
like I could change
Yeah.
the logo of this particular show. How did this get booked? And nothing will fucking change
No,
They
because
just took
especially the
away one
viewers.
line.
Yeah.
That's all it was. They
Yeah.
changed the E into an F.
yeah,
They just
but there's so many.
cropped out
Just
the
took
There's
bottom.
so many common people like, I liked it better when it was WWF. You didn't even
Or
know what the
added
fucking
yes.
difference was.
that must have been so awkward for that snake because
Yeah.
he was part of both. He was part of WWF in
Oh,
two
man.
different fashions.
Oh,
It was so awkward for him.
Fuck.
He's the only one allowed to call himself
Yeah.
part of the.
Yeah, I was part of the WWF legally.
Oh, yeah, he's just over there in the back going, awkward.
Yeah, exactly. He just like turns to the camera like, what are you gonna do? So in this first match it wasn't really clear to me if there was like a leader of the gang.
Yeah,
Of the
Ric
gangs.
Flair was the leader of the gang,
Flair
and
and
Roddy Piper
Did
was
they?
the leader.
Okay. Maybe I missed
The-
it. Well, again, I don't necessarily know what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Because they're all flashy
Though,
and they're all mad.
This is the only time it ever happens that they get gangs. Like,
Yeah.
This isn't a all year round thing.
Another one that
Tag
I had
team
never
back
seen
again.
was I only knew Ric Flair from like, yeah, he's got crazy blonde hair and he woo, that's all I knew. I didn't really.
He gets super drunk at Taco Mac in South End, South Park.
So that was exciting.
Yeah, you get to see younger Ric Flair.
He's spry.
Yeah,
Would you give him a go? Would you swipe
I'm
right
not.
on
I'm
him?
not.
would you
Lawns.
take that ride on
Space
on
Mountain?
Space Mountain?
I have to answer right now. I
Otis-
mean, I'm
Otis-
not.
Otis ride
maybe
longest
if
line.
I had some sunglasses, that hair is intense.
The
Or,
light
wait,
could
or
be-
I have to
He
turn around.
Also
Like to-
looks like a Slim Jim.
Also, too, he's. I don't know how he's bedded as many women as he has.
Mm-hmm.
He's not necessarily, I would say, the smoothest individual I've ever seen talking.
I'm not sexually attracted to him at all, but if someone was like, I don't know, it just seems like some sort of bragging rights. Like, I had sex with Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Unless I say that, and then everyone's like,
Oh.
So have we. Like,
Yeah.
I'll feel real silly then. I'll be like, tune in next week.
Yeah.
Let me
I'll
take
see you guys
this
Tuesday in
back.
Texas. Because I'm fucking moving. I'm embarrassed as shit right now.
To give you an idea of Ric Flair's humor, I'll never forget when he used to come to our office, and this was back before Charlotte Flair became, one of the best professional wrestlers in the world today and current WWE superstar. She was just thinking about training, and Rick was with his, I believe, fourth wife at the time. And so you have your fourth wife, you have your daughter who is just out of college, in an office, and you're just walking through this office, and you just randomly happen to see a picture of you and Arn Anderson from the 80s just sitting on a table randomly, because there's just random stuff at the High Spots office. And you, Ric Flair, see that picture, stop, you take a look at this picture of you and Arn Anderson from 1985, and you look at your fourth wife and your daughter, 20-year-old daughter, and you look at it, and you look at them, and you go, hey, see these two guys right here? They used to get a lot of pussy. And laugh and walk away. As if that's an okay thing to say.
Did the ladies look at each other like, what the fuck?
Yep, that's all right. That's exactly what happened.
I can't imagine that was the first time he would have said anything like that.
Yeah.
They're probably like, that's Dad.
They're
That's
like,
husband.
Here it
Whatever she
comes.
calls him.
Here it
Yeah,
comes.
there he goes. He says this every fucking time.
Yeah.
When that photo's not there, he has it on his phone and he brings it up and puts it down. So it's the guy.
Screensaver.
Yeah.
I can't wait for us to do that.
Yeah.
As older
You
men.
see those two guys? They never got any pussy.
But boy, did they try.
But man,
Man, did they try.
did they drink themselves out of a whole bunch of it.
She's like, I'm ready. So I gotta get another
Cool,
beer.
man. I gotta see what Man Scout's up to.
What else about this first match did you guys like, dislike, or got questions about?
It was interesting. Like, there were multiple wrestlers, but you never it wasn't confusing at any point. You knew, like, it's almost like they took turns, kind of like it was choreographed. Like, we're gonna fight over here, and then we're just gonna watch and talk shit, and then we're gonna. It was like a ripple effect. Like, it
almost
wasn't
like they were,
confusing
like,
for as many people that were in
tagging
there.
each other in and out.
Well, yes, but you could see how it could get confusing. I don't watch wrestling.
I was totally confused at the end, and then it was just like, the winner is Ric Flair. It's like,
Yeah, that is.
See, I was kind of able to.
What
That's
the
what I'm
fuck?
saying. Is like I was a little bit able to follow the whole
and then it was
time.
like, we're done. It's Rick.
Yeah,
Good
it's the
job.
time's up,
Rick.
guys. Let's fucking go.
Yeah, Rick wins. Everybody
He's the only
goes.
one that can make it back in the ring.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody not fighting on the outside is disqualified. It seemed
Yeah.
like a very fucking cheap.
Wait, was this the? No, this
There should
wasn't
have been
the
at least
part.
15 10 counts. You just have one piece of paper.
This is the only one I can find. I took like four sheets of
Okay.
half sheets of notes. All right, this wasn't the one with the seemingly like cross-dresser with the sequins.
Cross-dresser.
Am I getting ahead of myself here?
It wasn't this one because I don't remember anybody in sequence here.
They like kissed someone and like sent him off.
Oh, you're thinking of Sensational Sherry, like the woman.
That was a woman.
That was a woman.
That was a woman?
Yeah,
that was a woman.
I was
Alright.
I was her for Halloween.
I
one time.
watched that like
Nice.
I kept like okay.
Sensation
Well,
Sherry.
She,
shit, it's 2019. I'm getting in trouble now.
Yeah.
Yep, you
Well,
are.
guess who just got canceled, everybody?
Well, don't worry. Roddy Piper kissed her without her consent, so
Yeah,
he's
that's
really
true.
more.
And then
Oh,
just
that's
like
right, yeah.
pushed her off.
Yeah, and then just pushed her off.
All right,
Okay,
bitch.
so
See you later.
that wasn't in this one. That was kind of early on in the episode, I thought. So
This
No,
is
it-
that one.
it is
No, you're
this
right.
one.
oh, this is okay. Then yeah,
Yeah.
all right. So that was something.
Okay, that was the thing that happened.
Yeah, there was just she just
Just
woo!
right.
She like
Just,
like
just this girl I thought was a tranny, wasn't a tranny, got kissed on by a man without her permission, though.
Where do we go from here?
Yeah,
Shit. It's like,
Yeah, where do we go from here?
Fuck it. Here we go. Turn it up.
This may be for Zane right here. I was watching this, and as I was watching it, I kept saying to myself, like, man, I wish I still loved Bret Hart.
No.
He's so good in this match.
Yeah.
He's so...
And at the time where he was like obviously feuding with the Mountie of all people.
Yeah, but like... I really wish I never read his biography.
Yeah, it's real bad.
Yeah, because he's so good, and him and Ted DiBiase are just amazing in
Yeah.
here. Like they do stuff that the spots I have never seen.
Just start using them.
Yeah, I've got it written down. I'm gonna totally steal
What
it.
I'm stealing.
Absolutely, I might even do it this weekend. Just to let you know. And I love how clubs off the top rope is the most successful thing that happens in
Yeah.
this match.
Because ain't nobody hit one since that time.
Yeah, and they've been clubbing each other in the back deliberately. But if you jump off the top rope and hit him in the back of the head when they're not looking, Finish every time.
Well, that's fucking concussion. That's why.
Yeah, finish.
I think I saw like animated bluebirds like spinning around his head. Yeah.
Little stars going around in a little circle.
There was one where they were kind of bashing each other's heads into the corner, and there's usually that padding there, and the one corner had lost its padding, so it didn't look as real as it did everywhere else.
Right, because it hurt like shit.
Should we move to another corner? 'Cause, like, I can't really bash your head up against this part of it.
Nah, fuck it.
Yeah,
oh, god damn it.
Anything else about this match before we move on?
There's something, but we gotta see the next match to get to it, to talk about it.
Okay, all right, cool. Well, before we get to match number 2, we get to see a Macho Man interview, which Kaleigh, I know you were excited about.
His voice didn't sound like what I expected it to. It was a little more nasal than I thought it was going to be. For
were you thinking like a super deep voice?
I was expecting like a crazy, like Barry White type of deep voice.
Hey baby, this is
it was a little bit more like, oh my god, is he from like Wisconsin or something? Just a little more nasal than I thought. It wasn't completely not like Fran Drescher nasal, but just there was something to it that when he started talking, I was surprised.
Oh, Mr. Roberts, you took the snake out there. Oh, it was so slimy. Luckily, I made out of Slim Jims. Oh man, it was so bad.
It's like Jake climbed in my brain. Thank you so much.
I didn't watch a lot of wrestling, but I saw
except for this
pay-per-view specifically.
I saw
coincidence.
I saw Macho Man and then all the commercials, but I don't remember his voice sounding like that. I was like that whole interview was like, it sounds weird.
Real up on the coke.
It's like he'd just done it.
Yeah,
he had just done it. And then
little known fact, because I am the Man Scout, snake anti-venom fucks with your vocal cords.
It's actually helium.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, as soon as if you get bit by a snake, yes, you have to go to
get some balloons,
and suck out all the helium.
Get this man to a Chuck E. Cheese.
Some kid's birthday. He's like mushing some kid's face, grabbing his balloons. Like, Mommy, what's he doing?
That's when he has
snake venom.
That's when he has his normal Macho Man voice, like, "Hey baby, can you get me some Chuck E. Cheese as fast as possible? I just got bit by a snake. I talk about a long anaconda. It was between my legs for a short period of time, and boy was it rising to the occasion."
I can't even look into the eye. Just look somewhere else.
I wanted to exclusively look him in the eye.
Hard stare. I couldn't look away.
And what else happened?
Fuck, I guess I gotta switch people now. I guess Jake and Ramon get to go fuck. Damn it.
Are you gonna drink or something?
Yeah, might as well.
Talk about how you get your hair in that bun?
Yeah, it's real hard. Pull it real tight.
Speaking of things we can't look away, match number 2.
Things that are real tight.
Iron Sheik, the Berserker, Hercules, and Skinner taking on the newly turned back face, Sergeant Slaughter, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Tito Santana, and the possibly inebriated Kerry Von Erich.
What did they call the Sheik? They called him something else too. Not Mustafa. Was it Mustafa?
It was Colonel Mustafa and
General
Adnan Casey. Okay. So it would have been Colonel Mustafa.
Yeah.
So because this was just after Sergeant Slaughter did the whole Iraqi sympathizer character where he said, "I'm with Saddam Hussein," and then we attacked Saudi Arabia. We attacked Saddam and went through a war. Well,
Desert Storm was going on right then.
Yeah, then, and it escalated right as I started the character.
Maybe he was trying to say something. He's like, "No one will take me seriously. I'm trying to tell you guys."
Shit's going down.
Yeah.
He goes, "Their troops much harder than ours, and I used to be a drill sergeant in the U.S. Marine Corps, and our troops are pansies compared to Saddam's troops."
With this one, I thought when Sergeant Slaughter, when it showed him on camera, it panned to a kid that looked like he was gonna cry, and it reminded me of when they show people that women that saw the Beatles and they were crying woo, gonna faint. This kid who was probably 11. Maybe was just overcome, he was just so
Ramon.
Oh my god, yeah.
That was me. I was like, USA, USA.
He had the giant
USA
bucket of pop or whatever, soda, whatever.
Bucket of pop.
It was a carbonated beverage. They can't take the Midwest out of the girl. Anyway, but he was just he had this big, and he just sat this giant like container of drink down, and was just like mystified, and that was like my favorite part of, well, one of my favorite parts of this whole thing.
Something
really.
so pure.
It was just like, yeah, look how excited he is.
The pure love for Sergeant
Yeah,
Slaughter, who
exactly.
cut all these heartfelt promos of "I want my country back." I turned my back on my country. I want my country back, and we forgave him.
Just like that.
Yeah, he committed treason, and
we gave a championship rather than hung him.
Nice
Well, look at those
guy,
pants.
so-
Yeah,
he
he was a GI Joe. We can't hold
Yeah,
it
I mean
against
that's
him.
like a cool combo for a kid. I mean, he's just like a professional wrestler. He's also fucking GI Joe, Sergeant Slaughter. I mean, it's like a combo deal there.
Also, too, on the comic book convention circuit, because I just saw him at a comic book convention, he gets a double hit because he's got all this cred as a wrestler and people want his autograph as a wrestler, but because he's like
GI Joe.
G.I. Joe, so people got all that G.I. Joe merch they need signed by Sergeant Slaughter. And he's even smart, too. He got a custom-made belt, which is like the winged eagle, but he put the G.I. Joe logo on it. So when you take your picture with Sergeant Slaughter, he slaps that bad boy over your shoulder for $20 a pop. You get this awesome... You get to hold this awesome photo, awesome belt with Sergeant Slaughter in a photo. It's fantastic.
That's
so
awesome.
Meet him just solely for that.
Just to get that belt on your shoulder.
Get that belt on your shoulder.
It's actually his dick. He's like, just look forward. We're gonna take the picture, and it's just don't mind what's on your shoulder here.
No, that's Mark Henry. That's Mark Henry. Mark Henry was also doing that.
Well,
this
I'm not
weekend.
saying there's not that
Smells
logo
like a
that you were
Slim
talking
Jim.
about on there, but yeah.
Dick also said GI Joe.
Yeah.
G.I. Joe. The more you know.
No one's half the battle.
Knowing is half the battle, and half of this dick.
The other half is this ball and that ball.
What's on my shoulder? Knowing's half the battle.
You don't want to know.
The other
kid.
half is taking it.
Yeah.
Now this one, I actually made a note. Dance routine. This one reminded me. This was very choreographed. It seemed like they. I could almost hear like music, like the same song playing in all their heads, just the way they were moving around. And this caught
Just
my
dancing,
eye.
getting it going.
Especially when the Berserker got hit and he spun around and then landed in the splits.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
That was
perfect.
yeah,
He
that was
jumped
beautiful.
and,
I don't know if you guys saw their little pyrotechnics behind him.
Kept getting punched, kept throwing up jazz fingers.
Everybody's like 5, 6, 7, 8, and then like.
It's like, damn it, Sergeant Slaughter went early, and now I'm off 2 counts.
Well,
It's kickball chain, goddammit!
you know what else was dancing was Kerry Von Erich's eyes in his head because
Oh, man.
we've done Survivor Series before in here, and we have Kerry Von Erich in matches before, and that motherfucker always seems out of place in a Survivor Series match. Like,
This is all fucked up. He's got half a foot.
Yeah, he's got half a foot. Yeah.
Yeah.
He lost a foot in a motorcycle accident and he didn't tell anybody. So sometimes people would be working over his leg and they would like yank on his foot a little too hard and realize, oh fuck,
His shoe would come off?
his shoe has come off and like
It's like just a stub.
stub.
Yeah. There you go.
And then he quickly grab it back and then put it back in. But it was just like the person wrestling didn't know that.
Yeah.
And they're like, what the fuck?
They should have used that. Like had somebody cut his foot off. Like
That would have made
on
sense.
stage.
General
It's
Adnan.
clap.
They should have
Yeah,
made him
it'd
into
been
like a
perfect.
pirate with like a peg leg. So many marketing opportunities.
He's not too far from killing himself from here, so it's kind of whatever.
Well, this is great because, like, you know,
Been hanging out with
totally
Virgil.
fresh wrestling eyes. I don't exactly know what I'm looking at. But when you say that, there was like a guy that was kind of just sort of like hanging on the outskirts.
Running
And,
around
like,
in the way and
Yeah.
people moving around
And
him.
so,
Yeah.
and I was, at first, I was like, that's not the ref, but he definitely seems to be avoiding the conflict. So that must be who that was.
Yep.
Good to know.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
And
Kerry
he
Von
was
Erich.
probably just hobbling around.
Yeah, it's a half foot.
Old halfy foot. This is where we see Tito.
Don't they have to weigh in? Do they weigh in?
No.
This isn't
Okay,
real.
because I was wondering, like, what?
So this isn't real.
I'm just thinking, like, after
all
the
6'9",
accident,
440.
if it's like, is
Yeah.
he putting like marbles in his shoe to make sure he's weighing the same, you know? But I guess it doesn't matter if you're not.
Here's a funny story that we discussed on our AWA Super Brawl episode, where Kerry Von Erich wrestled in Chicago against Jerry the King Lawler, and this was during the time where he had no foot. And AWA was competing against WWF at the time, and Vince McMahon, to screw over the AWA, stooged Kerry Von Erich off to the Illinois Athletic Commission and said that, hey, he has a prosthetic leg. He's not allowed to wrestle in your state because of your bylaws. And because apparently they'd already like allowed other wrestlers with prosthetics to wrestle. It was fine, and there was already a precedent because it was some rule that they weren't enforcing or something. I can't remember what it was.
Basically, the payoff of it was, well, this shit's not real, so it doesn't matter.
I can't remember. We discussed a little bit more detail in our episode. So go back in the it's almost like a year ago from like this particular episode. So it's when it came up.
But it turns out you wouldn't need to really worry about it because this guy gets all fucked up and has a blade taped to his finger and scratches his arm and just fucking gashes it to shit.
What?
So he's just pouring blood everywhere, and a match needed to be stopped.
Yeah, there was so much blood on that mat that there's equal as amount of tobacco spit on the mat after Skinner wrestled. To give you an idea of how much blood was there in that match. So
that seems like a lot.
Yeah.
Now, if you think everything's fake, like this guy obviously at some point was going to need medical attention, and they were just like, "It's all fake. It's corn syrup.
Cool, yeah,
it's fine." Yeah. And then he's just laying there like pale.
Yeah, the commission's like, "Oh, it's cool, man. Gotta get some juice.
Some orange slices."
Any thoughts about this match? Obviously, all the good guys. There are no eliminations on their side, and they go all the way through. Mostly because we don't want Kerry Von Erich to be involved in any type of finish whatsoever, because we're afraid he's gonna fuck it up.
This is where we have. So they do a fucking thing they do in the first match too, and this is what I hate about Survivor Series is that there's so many of the same moments and finishes. Of dude gets his dick caught on the rope and they give him the shake.
Oh, yeah.
They did it there. They did it the time before.
Call it in the ring, brother.
Hey,
nobody's watching everybody's matches.
Yeah.
Is that the one where he was like kind of Looney Tunes style, like on it? Okay.
Sitting on the top rope and the guys give him the fucking
the
business,
bounce,
the business,
and the balls. And
I was like, I'm almost there. Keep going.
There's usually like so many count outs, like we saw in the first one. Like everybody gets count out, so they don't have to lose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Imagine fucking that one up though.
Yeah.
Like you're just like, all right, we got this. I'm just gonna put it like right next to my balls and we're gonna bounce on it, and then it's like, oh, you fuck!
Put my hand there under my ball sack. We're good. Go shit!
Yeah. You were supposed to win this one, but you couldn't stand
I'm
up,
out.
So I just
I'm out. Tap.
So I took this one.
If you tap it more than twice, you're playing.
That's right.
Just like that.
Just like that. Go for it.
So anyways, they win. Hacksaw tosses the 2x4 in the air and catches it.
What if he didn't?
Probably the most impressive thing of the whole match.
Yeah.
But speaking of next thing that comes up is a Jake the Snake Roberts interview.
Yeah.
Guys, how fucking rad is he dressed?
Yeah.
Those boots and those track pants.
He's like a pimp on his day off.
Oh man.
Yeah, and also
casual.
There was one point in time. Like, when the interview started, he just took, like, a strand of his hair and then put it over his mouth and started chewing it. I don't fucking know what that was about.
It's supposed to be, like, nervous and cute. Like, I'm not always a badass.
Give him the fucking eyes.
I can be quite coy. Wink.
Give him those fuck me eyes and smile with my eyes. Look at me, goddammit.
Any thoughts on the promo of the Jake Roberts?
Just what he's wearing, looking fucking rad. And all he's doing is building a Tuesday in Texas anyway.
Yeah, so fuck this pay-per-view.
No one gives a shit.
No one gives a shit. But what we should give a shit about is the Gravest Challenge.
The Gravyest Challenge. Here we are.
The Gravyest Challenge has come up. We get to see a recap from like the funeral parlor with Paul Bearer. And of course, the pixelated crotch of Ric Flair coming in.
How did Hulk get his belt back? Because they took it from him. In that whole thing.
The funeral parlor?
Yeah, when they hit him and knocked him out, Ric Flair had his belt. Did he leave it with him, or did he?
He might have just dropped it and left it.
He's like, I got it!
I got it.
Sorry,
he got it and came back out.
Left.
LOL.
Gotcha.
I don't want him to wake up and kick the shit out of me for real. So.
But how about in this funeral parlor, they have The Undertaker come out, attack Hulk Hogan, and then fucking Macho Man Randy Savage and Roddy Piper come in and hit The Undertaker with chairs, and he no-sells it.
No.
Like, the biggest fucking stars that you've had in your fucking company for the last fucking 3 to 5 years, and this guy's been here for a couple of months, and you have fucking put a fucking rocket ship on him. It's unbelievable.
He debut? I think the year before?
The year before.
In Survivor Series?
Yes, I believe the year before.
He needs to do a couple of improv classes. You're supposed to yes and. Never say no. Just go with it.
Well, he was definitely denying the chair shots.
Yeah.
How long did he go undefeated? Because I remember that being a thing when I was younger. It's like,
that for WrestleManias.
That was for WrestleManias. He was undefeated at WrestleManias for a while. I think
29 of them.
Something like that. 20-something.
That's crazy.
So, and this is where
Hulk... Well, yeah, still, it's crazy that they just kept giving it to him.
Yeah, they kept doing this.
Like, nobody else, really. It's
yeah.
Like, no, the Undertaker is going to keep him...
So, Hulk, threw. I think this is like right when he got to the ring. He like threw the coffin aside,
He did that.
which actually had the Undertaker's grandmother in it. And no one's talking about that. Yeah, she was alive. It was all her. It was,
She was sleeping.
she's tired.
sleeping.
Yeah, she's taking a nappy nap.
They both sleep in there.
Yeah,
So after the
Okay,
match,
yeah.
he just slithers in there with
I,
his
over.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, because it kind of at first
I need more.
it looked
energy.
like when he was moving it looked like he was having a little trouble, and for some reason that made me really happy. Like the look on the Hulk's face where he was kind of like, "That's a little heavier." Like, I thought it was gonna be.
God damn
like,
it.
I thought it was gonna be styrofoam, but he was kind of like, "Whoa!" And
When
then
I
you
was
could kind of
24,
see like he
I
couldn't
could
lift
have
it.
totally tossed this thing.
Yeah, that was great.
Who fucking built this metal coffin?
It's goddamn.
And
Damn it.
I don't know. Do you guys remember Hulk's show on like VH1 or something like that?
Yeah,
Hogan knows
his
best.
family, yeah.
Hogan knows best. Okay, so before this assignment, the only time I'd ever seen him like on screen really was in that. And like I knew he was a wrestler and whatever, but it was kind of funny to see that and then see this.
So it's like watching the Osbournes style.
Yeah, kind
like,
of, yeah.
He was in a
Never
Rocky.
listened to Black Sabbath, but I saw this.
What
Yeah,
Rocky was he in? 4?
3.
3.
Three? Okay.
There's
Thunder
Thunder
Lips.
Lips.
Somehow I had managed to make it through 26 years of life and never watch him like wrestle. So this was exciting, and yeah, and that was just great to watch him walk out. Everyone's like freaking out. Then he goes to move this coffin, and he's like, "Oh shit!" Kind of lift with my legs. You know, that was pretty funny.
And it didn't even he didn't toss it. It just kind of fell off the thing.
Yeah.
All right. I got it.
So with this being your first Hulk Hogan match, what'd you think of it?
He was definitely the most entertaining.
Did he make you want
And-
to say your prayers and eat your vitamins, drink your milk?
And he did this
of it.
spin move with, I can't remember who he was picking up though, but he did like a spin move, and it kind of looked like a figure skating thing, and it looked a little bit like the guy was enjoying it. It wasn't it wasn't the Undertaker. It kind of reminded me of the Titanic when he's like, "Jack, I'm flying." But it was toward the end of this match that he like picked him up and kind of spun him like he was holding him like perpendicular to his shoulders, if you will.
Yeah.
And it was just beautiful. I shed a tear.
It had to be the Undertaker. There was nobody else in the ring. The pallbearer never gets in the ring, right? He just kind of
Flair
chokes
comes
him.
out though, doesn't he?
Does he?
Yes, Flair comes out at the
Oh,
end.
I don't. See, I don't know. It wasn't.
He does pick up the Undertaker at one point.
Maybe it was
Just a
him
little
then.
airplane spin. Little airplane spin
Okay,
action.
well maybe it was him.
Either way,
I'm a
it's
true
fine.
noob. I'm exactly
Yeah.
what you guys want. I don't know.
Exactly.
Yes.
You get offset, Ramon.
It was great. It was a good show though. Like the whole thing was good. It was the thing where he comes in, he hits the Undertaker, and it's like he can't even feel anything. He's just struggling to get anything to happen, and then as it goes, like the Undertaker's easily winning, and then it's like, oh, Hulk's actually got a little fire in him, and he's gonna come back, and then the cheating happens and he loses. But it was like a cool.
Cheating.
The story was good. So.
When did he cheat?
So they slid the chair in under his head. And
Yeah,
all died
and
in
then
one
of course
chair.
every time the ref turned around, the pallbearer was like choking him. And,
Which is very out of character for what Paul Bear became in later years. Like, he rarely ever did
anything.
heel tactics. Like, rarely ever. He just would mug for the camera.
Yeah,
He would
just
carry
hold
the
the
urn. That would be just about it. He'd cut promos for the Undertaker, and the Undertaker would just nail the end. And that's basically what it was. There was rarely ever that typical heel choking,
Yeah.
whatever. And it's just
Extracurricular activities.
and it's so fucking weird that they gave the title, the championship, to the Undertaker this time, because this is something they didn't do at the time. Like, anytime they put the championship on anybody, it was like to the thought of they're gonna have it for years, or passing the torch and moving on, because we just came from an era when Hulk won it against the Iron Sheik, had this nice long run with it, carried it through Andre, and then dispute, and then Macho Man was the champion for a while, and then Hulk won it back, only then to lose it to Ultimate Warrior.
I remember the Ultimate Warrior.
Well, I'm maybe missing a few steps here. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank, because there's a Sergeant Slaughter in here too. No, he lost to the Ultimate Warrior. Ultimate Warrior lost to Sergeant Slaughter to build to WrestleMania. This is like you didn't see a lot of like short title runs, and I almost feel like the Undertaker's title run here was to get over the Flair Hogan angle, so that way they could have these house show matches that didn't have the belt attached to it. So
You
therefore,
didn't have belt versus belt.
you didn't have belt versus belt, and then also too, you didn't know who was going to win. Because if obviously Hulk's the champion, you're like, it's probably not going to win.
Yeah.
And then so you could build to that, and also then build to a match where Hulk wins his belt back.
So how old was he during this particular match?
The Undertaker?
Roughly? No, the Hulk.
Hulk? I don't know, probably late 30s,
Okay.
maybe,
And then the
maybe early
Undertaker
40s,
was
20s.
okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, probably in his 20s.
Mean Mark.
Because he's still, the Undertaker's still active, right?
Every once in a while. Every WrestleMania.
He's frightening looking.
Or
He
every time the
is.
Saudis bring out
Yeah.
some money.
Time to, what is it, Saudi time.
Saudi time. But yeah, I just find it fascinating because it became a kind of a later fixture in WWE. We're like, hey, we got to get this guy over. Let's put the belt on him for like a couple weeks. Like, let's put the belt on Sheamus. Let's put the belt on Jack Swagger. Let's put the belt on Dean Ambrose. And then,
cool.
and so it's just very weird they did it here. For just, it almost seems like, I don't know if it's to promote Texas and Tuesday, Hulk letting it back.
Probably.
So all roads lead to Texas.
Or was
It's like,
it?
did you see the thing on pay-per-view? It's like the Undertaker took Hulk's thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
And next Tuesday, I heard that Macho Man and Jake the Snake are going to be on.
They're going to be in Texas.
Or this build to the heat to Flair and Hulk. So
They should have Oprah handing out, like, you get a belt, you get a belt, you get a belt.
Look at your seats.
But yeah, it's fucking weird. I would love to hear the story behind it. I would love to hear the Something to Wrestle about it. But the reason why we're doing this is because Something to Wrestle is not going to cover this for 2 more years. So we would be discussing 89 or 94 because there's a lot more meat on those bones. But they're being discussed by a podcast that has much larger listenership. So
For now, I mean,
for
now
now,
that you've brought us back,
Until I kill Conrad.
yeah, until you kill Conrad.
I'm the only one that can.
You are the only one who's close enough to. I still have never met the man. I've never still pressed the flesh.
He's a good man.
Okay. All right. Well,
what a fascinating expression.
Press the flesh.
press the flesh.
Press the flesh.
Mm.
Seems like a weird, like, pump-up term. Like if you're nervous, hey, man, just got there, press the flesh.
Press
Okay?
the flesh, man.
I'm like, I'll see a chick, and I'm like, God, I just want to fucking press the flesh.
Well, they spent a lot of time
Can I get a ride home?
pressing
We're good, man.
pressing Hulk Hogan's flesh, getting up off the mat.
Yeah.
This post-match stuff is just taking forever.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then,
they got 5 matches and they have 3 hours to fill.
well, don't worry, we're going to give you a Roddy Piper interview, which starts off as a little playful Addams Family themed promo, and then all of a sudden, he says that The Undertaker being champ is no different than David Duke becoming Prez.
It's almost the same thing.
Got fucking super fucking political out of nowhere. No, don't get me wrong. It's one of the few comments that Roddy Piper has made that's which on the right side of history.
Wait, he hasn't painted himself half black yet. So.
Yeah, he had paid himself. No, I
We're
think
past that. We're past that.
We're way past that
Yeah.
now. We're way past. He's
I
making
meant yet
amends.
that day.
Yeah, yeah.
As soon as he got done,
He's like there with his paintbrush. He's like, oh man.
he's
I'm not wrestling a black guy tonight,
He's
but
holding a can of shoe polish
Yeah.
while they're talking.
Any day now.
we
Warming
did
it
kind of
up.
let this go
Just
by that
warming
he
it up.
did half blackface.
And then go ahead.
I was just gonna say this interview was funny because it's almost like you didn't hear the questions being posed to him. Like it was kind of like he was just talking, and it happened to coincide with the interview, which was great. Like he was kind of like sort of lucid, kind of not.
He would have
and
said
I don't
these
know really who
things
this guy is. Yeah,
regardless
but it
of
was
what
sort of
was
just
going
like it was pretty.
He was already just saying they happen to have a camera near him.
Yeah.
It wasn't scheduled. They just there's Roddy. Let's put a mic in front of him for 5 minutes.
When about you guys get here?
He seems like this is like the wacky office bunch. He seems kind of like the one that like always brings tuna from home and like sits in the break room and
Cooks in
bothers.
the microwave.
Yeah, like that seems like this guy, and I'm just going.
Fuck, Roddy.
Yeah,
Oh, it's gonna smell like fish for weeks.
it's just a bit off.
Why are you eating tuna on a Friday? They're not gonna throw this shit out till next Monday. This whole break room's gonna smell all weekend
I'm
long.
a bitch.
We just got the smell from last time.
That was yesterday.
Speaking of smelling like tuna, we have an interview with Ric Flair.
Because he got a lot of pussy.
Thank you. Also, Mr. Perfect, any thoughts on this promo right here? Ric Flair is known for being quite the talker. What were you guys' thoughts on that? I know Ramon's already seen this before.
Yeah, I've
Yeah,
seen it like
so
100 times.
it was
so.
just deja vu.
As
for
a
you,
guy
I
that was
guess?
there, let me tell you.
You know, got a VHS
He was actually
tape.
holding the camera. He was. Yeah.
Well, he does kind of look like Sean Mooney, though. You're Sean Mooning and hiding.
I expected more shit talking from Ric Flair.
Really?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
He
didn't
seems
take off any
kind
clothes.
of wily. I don't know. Yeah, he wasn't like subdued necessarily, but I just expected him to be a little rowdier than he was when you know, in the ring versus in front of the camera. He was a little more
Chill.
chill, I guess. Maybe he gets it all out of his system.
I mean, he
out
already
there.
won. He already won, so he's not got a lot to prove right now. He's getting ready for Tuesday in Texas.
As we all are.
Gonna go get some puss. It's kind of,
He had his boys there. He didn't want to, like, show up too much.
Yeah.
He just want to kind of, like, I'm just whatever.
He looks like if Tom Petty did steroids. Like, and it's kind of that demeanor, yeah. Like,
crazy.
So like,
Kind of like Tom Petty now, too.
Oh.
Rest in peace, Tom Petty.
Speaking of rest in peace, Mean Gene Okerlund does a update with the natural disasters and IRS. Any thoughts on that?
This is where they talk about like these guys are supposed to be in the match.
Yeah, supposed to. I lost this whole concept of what was supposed to happen, and these guys were supposed to be in the match, and they were taken out of the match. I never fucking picked up on it.
I totally forgot the next match even fucking happened.
But we're not there yet.
Boy, I know.
We still got some promos yet. We're doing the promos
got so many promos. This is the open card shit. Not what fucked up to where they were just like, we need 25 minutes of promos.
When we opened up the card, we had to sell this Tuesday in Texas, saying like. No thoughts on this? Good. Sean Mooney talks to the Road Warriors and Big Boss Man, where they yell and say nothing at all at the same time.
Except
it's like the
Bushwhackers. It's my favorite.
Then Mean Gene brings in Jack Tunney. Jack Tunney is clearly reading cue cards. Says this will not stand, and he will be in this Tuesday in Texas to make sure that this is rectified, because fuck this pay-per-view. And to furthermore fuck this pay-per-view, match number 4, the Beverly Brothers come out.
Oh, this was one of my in my notes. I put striped pants. They were adorable. I was like their mom. I'm like, they're so cute. I don't know what it was about them. I wasn't afraid of them.
Mother Beverly over here should have been the manager instead of the Genius. And then of course the Nasty Boys come out with Jimmy Hart, and they take on the Bushwhackers and the Rockers.
Admittedly, I thought Bushwhackers were going to be a couple of rough and tumble lesbians. But
nope,
that far off.
Bushwhackers.
They're actually 2 homosexual men, actually, believe it or not.
No, so like they're like Bush swatters.
I knew Butch was. I didn't know the other one was.
I think they're both are. I don't know if they're, and they're definitely not out. So I just outed them. So I broke like a major fucking rule there. But Brickhouse.
Maybe we'll get some ears on this thing.
Listen, Brickhouse Brown has done far more damage than I could ever fucking do in this business as far as outing people.
While we're at it, did you hear about the threesome between the Undertaker, Ric Flair, and the Hulk and the Snake? The Snake, not Jake the Snake, the actual
real snake.
The Hulk from Marvel or Hulk Hogan?
It was fucking
Mark Ruffalo. And Edward Norton.
Put a snake up Hulk Hogan's ass.
There's another one too.
Any press is good press.
Ben Affleck.
There's another Hulk.
So many Hulks.
Yeah, I can't remember the guy.
What was your question?
I'm more enthralled than what you were guys doing, because it's far more enthralling than this match was.
Welcome to
very little notes.
Welcome to our new fanfic.
I'm still loving the segue you had earlier. Speaking of resting peace. Like,
well, Mean Gene Okerlund is no longer with us, and I just did a 10-bell pot on him.
It's still just a great segue.
That's what I do.
Speaking of resting peace.
I mean,
this guy's dead.
Yes, he's dead.
2 out of 10 hit, but goddamn when they do.
They hit solidly.
They make up for the other 8.
Yeah, this match was short, right?
No, this match was 23 minutes long.
I wish it was short.
She just thought it was so adorable that it was like...
Yeah, I just kept looking at that guy's pants.
Yeah, they look like little pirates with braids.
I think Heenan had some good lines of commentary. He was talking about these guys are this and these guys are that. And then these guys were raised here. These guys were raised as brothers. These guys were raised on the streets. These guys were raised in rock and roll, and the Bushwhackers were raised at a barn. Or something along those lines. And then like Heenan said something along the lines of like, who do you think's gonna win, Brain? And he's like, the guy in the long tights, which is everybody. So
he's not wrong.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong. But this whole match is just basically to set up the breakup of the Rockers,
Sean and Marty,
which was like a big deal, and then that whole thing gets blown off somewhere else. Not this Tuesday in Texas though. That was at a Bruce Beefcake barbershop window, but that was not the Tuesday in Texas. So
I wonder if the ref ever gets confused, like we said the guy in the tight pants. It's like after a while it's like it's just a blur of tight
like both the Beverly Brothers look like the same fucking person.
I think they did make some sort of confusion. I think Sean wasn't necessarily legal, and the commentary kept saying that Sean just walked out even though he was still in the match. But the ref clearly counted 3. But I don't know. There was some weird thing going on there. The spot that needed to happen came off perfectly, and they did what they did. And the commentators were talking something completely different. So I don't know. This one was just hard to pay attention because
to me the refs always seem confused in wrestling.
Never seen a smart one.
Yeah, no. It's like they're always turned around like, I don't know what's going. Like, what are you like? What's the? While the other guy's getting like the shit beat out of him and strangled and hit by like a chair or something. It's like, oh, why are you bleeding now? That's crazy.
Any thoughts about this match? 'Cause I think
it's over.
I think they're cute.
They're cute pants.
Cute boys. Sweet boys.
You might be the only person that spoke up for the Beverly Brothers.
Bo and Blake?
Yep, Bo and Blake. They're your boys. Mama Beverly over here.
I enjoyed the
Mama
braids.
Beverly.
The braids and the tights. Like, precious.
Well, I'm going to have to
Like
take
a couple
notes.
of BGs on steroids.
Yeah.
I'm going to wear some tights for you tomorrow and braid
that hair up.
Yeah. See what I can do. A little cornrows.
Press the flesh.
I'm going to press the flesh on that makeup sex.
Yeah.
Press the flesh.
Well, speaking of on steroids, match number 5.
Speaking of a whole bunch of flesh.
The Road Warriors and Big Boss Man taking on the Natural Disasters and IRS. This is our main event. It is traditional Survivor Series rules, but there's only 3 people as opposed to 4 because of some sort of weird shit, and I wasn't paying attention to because fuck this pay-per-view.
I thought Macho and Jake were supposed to be on either team.
Yeah, probably was supposed to
And
be.
they were both kicked off, so that's why it was 3-on-3 instead
Yeah,
of 4-on-4.
because fuck this pay-per-view.
Yeah, because we need them for Tuesday.
That's so weak.
Yeah.
The marquee match.
Yeah.
Is these guys.
There you go.
I was going to say that I thought it seemed like it was going out of order, like all the bigger people were in the beginning.
Yeah.
You just throw a Hulk right dab in the fucking middle.
Yeah, it should have been Hulk and
Like,
Undertaker
I got someplace
at the
to
end
go.
of that. That
Well, they
probably
need
should
a
have
happy
been
ending, and you're already doing an angle in the match before this.
Yeah,
You're
but
not,
you want a cliffhanger, man. You want to leave them like that. You want to leave them like, Hulk just lost. What the fuck just happened?
I kind of agree that should have been later, and that would have been, and also too with the history of the Survivor Series screw job. There's been multiple screw jobs that have happened at Survivor Series even before the one in '97.
It was like they're not supposed to lose, but they do or something.
Yeah, there's always some shady shenanigans because Survivor Series is the setup for the next upcoming WrestleMania or whatever.
Yeah, whatever's coming up.
Whatever's coming up. So usually that's how it goes because we're going to lead into the Royal Rumble. We're going to get that momentum rolling, which kind of what happens here because what happens at Tuesday at Texas basically leads to them holding the belt up and crowning a new champion at the 92 Rumble, which actually Ric Flair ended up winning the belt. So basically this starts a series of events that leads to Ric Flair becoming WWF champion.
Series of unfortunate events.
Do Ric Flair and Vince McMahon ever hang out on screen?
They had a time there where Ric Flair was like the commissioner of Raw or WWE for a short period of time, and
because I think those personalities would be.
You don't argue they're the same person.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You never see him in the same room.
Well, there's a famous story that Rick told on a shoot interview that's pretty interesting, and I don't think it's out there. It's kind of fun to think
Hell
about.
Yeah.
Like Rick likes to have a good fucking time after the shows. Let's go get fucking drunk. Let's go do this, and then people try to avoid Ric Flair because it's going to be a wild fucking night. Too, if he has the opportunity to put the tab on your fucking credit card, he will.
Shit.
And of course, Vince McMahon, who has all the fucking money in the world, but also likes to have a good time every once in a while. He, at one point in time when Rick was there working for him full time, was hanging out with Ric Flair. And they were at a hotel bar because that's usually the way it goes. You do the show, you go to the hotel bar because it's just easier because you can get drunk. You don't have to drive anywhere. Walk right upstairs. And, sometimes those hotel bars, they close a little early. They don't stay up as late as they used to.
Or as late as Ric Flair.
Well, I've been in hotel bars where Ric Flair has walked over to the bartender when they say last call at 10:30, and he goes, "If you want to make any goddamn money, you're going to stay up as late as I want." This was just
like,
in the last.
I'm not paying for it.
This guy's gonna fucking pay for it, and this in the last 10 years. But imagine being there with Vince McMahon, who had all the fucking money in the world, and there was one night where they were drinking, and they'd done that a couple of times, and then it was like 2:33 in the morning, and they're like, you guys need to go. We legally cannot give you alcohol anymore, and they're just sitting at the bar, they're drunk, and they're getting kicked out, and they don't want to go. And all of a sudden, Ric Flair goes over to Vince McMahon and goes, "Hey, you're a rich guy. Don't you have enough money to buy this hotel? If you buy this fucking place, you can do whatever you want and can drink the rest of it." And Rick said that he goes, "There was a moment there where I think I almost sold him the hotel." Like, I'm just seeing Vince McMahon going, "You goddamn right, I can buy this fucking hotel.
I'll show them.
I can buy this hotel fucking Marriott."
He's immediately making like grand design plans. Like, we'll put the floors on the walls, and we'll put the ceilings outside.
This will be the coolest comfort inn you've ever fucking seen.
We're gonna have an Undertaker suite. We're gonna have a snake suite with a snake going, "This is awkward."
Everybody will be pressing the flesh in this motherfucker.
Flesh all night.
Oh, I love those rapid fire callbacks.
Yeah.
Also, too, I'm pretty sure Vince McMahon loved this match because he hates the federal government. That's why he created the character IRS. So when IRS is getting his ass beat, I can just see Vince McMahon going, "Ha ha ha! Kick his ass!
Take that!"
I wonder if that was taxing on the audience.
No.
I'll see myself out. Okay.
I don't know. He probably oughtn't have done that.
Oh, what else about this
I heard
match? I think there's a situation where Earthquake just pieces out.
Yeah.
Typhoon.
He ends up getting one of them pinned.
Yeah.
And the other one just walks out.
Yeah.
And then we spend 20 fucking minutes beating the shit out of him.
Yeah, but then Blake Bossman comes back and leads him back in the ring, and then they're like, the Road Warriors who could lift up a fucking car are like, "Yeah, we're not lifting up IRS for the Doomsday, even though this is the main event of a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
We'll
That's what they paid to see.
Yeah,
We're
we'll just give him a
tired.
fucking shoulder block off the top and call it a fucking day." So,
We already know it was a bad idea to put it in this order.
Yeah.
So
This should be
Ric
Hulk.
Flair's already drunk and doing lines off the
Yeah.
snake. So.
I'm ready to go.
We're
do
trying to
some
get back
lines
there.
with Rick.
Yeah.
That's what
I'm
they
just trying to
did.
go fuck this snake, guys. Can we get going?
Yeah, and we gotta
Snake's
hurry up
getting
and get
tired.
to Texas
Yeah.
this Tuesday. So
By
can we-
Tuesday, I don't know if you heard. Yeah,
Yeah,
Tuesday
it's
in
very
Texas.
imperative that we're
We're
there
in
by
Detroit.
Tuesday.
I'm not trying to drive overnight.
Yeah.
We gotta get going.
Well, the Undertaker will probably have to drive overnight because they have to stick around and cut this interview with the title belt with Mean Gene Okerlund and this wonderful 90-second interview right at the end.
What the fuck? Just sit at home on that? That's the note you want to go with? Why couldn't Hulk just lose in the end then?
I don't know. But that's what they did. That's how they produced this. Kaleigh, Ramon. Ramon, you've already seen this. We already know everything about this. But,
Like
but,
a
but, Kay-
million times.
but Kaleigh, what were your thoughts as a non-wrestling fan watching the show?
It was, I guess for me, like when you hear about wrestling, like it's fake or whatever, but it was very like theatrical, and then the performer in me was like, you know what, they're all just giving them what they want. And I enjoyed it. And there was at one point, the outfits also stood out to me. There were pirates and superheroes, and that's like the complete bastardized version of that, because I don't know what I'm talking about. But it was just the pageantry, I guess, is what I enjoyed. I think there was someone walking around with a picture of themselves on their pants. Someone had there was like a guy, and then there was that same guy all over his own pants.
I don't know who that is. Gotta figure that one out.
I do know the one guy in the second match. He had pants like the Ultimate Warrior. Who was that?
That was Kerry Von Erich.
Okay,
Which for a long time there was a theory that the real Ultimate Warrior died, and then Kerry Von Erich took over. But that's
Like
a
Paul
theory that
McCartney.
I believed, and that was dumb because Kerry Von Erich had already killed himself by the time that happened. So
Oh, shit.
Well, yeah, when he came out, I was like, "Oh, is that the Ultimate Warrior?" I was like, "Oh, okay, that's not him."
Also, I felt inspired. Like, I could do this.
In
I
a,
could be a wrestler.
You could.
I could be a wrestler.
a wrestle. You can do wrestles. In a moment of Big Brotherisms, I just got an update from WWE Network that tonight the Survivor Series squads are going to be revealed. So welcome everybody.
Hey,
There it is.
hey WWE, we're just talking about
Did you
you.
enjoy did you enjoy this?
How do all that stuff about us fucking the government and doing all that coke that we do? It's not us, Big Brother.
Press the flesh.
Yeah,
Unless
press that flesh.
Unless you're trying to give us more,
Unless you're trying to give it up.
and then yes, that's us.
well, I mean, Edward Snowden warned us about about this. Apparently, Edward Snowden is working for Russia and the WWE Network.
Epstein didn't kill himself.
So, Zane, what are your thoughts? How many WCW Halloween Havoc 2000s do you give the Survivor
it only
Series?
gets like 1 or 2. It's not bad. What I always loved about Survivor Series was the build to Survivor Series more than, because that's when you see the gangs form. That's when people get fucked in or fought in.
Fucked in?
Yeah.
You gotta fuck into the gang?
Wow.
How do you get in gangs?
How do you start comedy?
You fuck in or fight in.
I press some flesh and I get in.
You get beat in or beat out. You don't watch enough Gangland, guys. Or 48 Hour, or another 48 or whatever. First 48, there we go.
Yeah.
The build up to it where they make the teams is always better because the promos are always great. But, I mean, this show was what it was. I mean, it wasn't Gobbledygooker.
Yeah. I mean, this is all about promoting this Tuesday in Texas.
Which I feel we kind of need to do a follow-up of Tuesday in Texas.
I mean, if you guys want to come back and do this Tuesday in Texas.
Yeah, what the hell happened?
What are you doing Tuesday?
I want to know what happened.
I'll be in Texas, actually.
He'll be in Texas,
Yeah.
damn it.
I mean, we
Say this bad boy on the road.
We could. I mean, in the schedule, if you want to do this Tuesday in Texas, we can come back. If you
We
guys wanna-
got it.
I am dead serious. If you want,
Because I don't know what the fuck that is, so I'm
What's
very
gonna
excited.
end up happening is like we're like non-wrestling fans, but
Well,
as we
one of
keep
us saw
doing
this show
this,
live, so.
Yeah,
you
one
know,
of us.
You know, I was
One of us
was
begged
10
mom and
years
dad to
old.
buy
Yeah.
this and called in and got it on pay per view when
10
he was
years
8.
old.
I was still in the sperm ether.
Yeah,
Like, I
was
wasn't even.
hanging out in the ball sack.
We're
Oh,
gonna
reminds me, I
end
gotta
up
call my dad.
we're gonna end up turning into fans.
That's right. We're not going to be able to use you
We're
anymore.
gonna be well versed.
Well, here's a question. I forgot to
I use words like
We can
pageantry. I
pretend.
think I'm
Yeah.
good. I
It'll be
flubbed
fake,
it. Yeah.
just like
Just like wrestling.
exactly. Oh, is that who that was?
Oh.
Oh, that's crazy.
Well, here's a question I asked you. I forgot to ask at the beginning. Between the time that you did the last episode to now, did you have any sort of inkling or desire to watch professional wrestling?
Did you watch
Not a bit. Not a bit. No.
I took more notice of it, I guess,
Unfortunately.
after, because the first one we had watched had chicks in it, so I was kind of like, I took more notice of like muscular women about. I'm like, I bet she's a wrestler. She can be a wrestler.
That
Like,
big bitch over there could wrestle.
yeah. Then I tried fighting women, and that didn't go well at all. So.
Like bar fighting or?
If I saw them, like, if they were muscular anywhere, grocery store, library,
Yeah.
It
my,
didn't work.
my nana, whatever.
Grab her by the wrist, like, do you wrestle?
You wanna fight?
I'll press the flesh, and then
Press
I'll
the
know.
flesh.
That'll answer it. I mean,
Shake my hand. You're a wrestler.
bitch wrestles.
She's turning the hand over. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All
Show
right.
dominance.
Well, let's
Should be
get
belly.
out of here.
Somebody's got a date.
Somebody does not. You shut your mouth. Do any of you guys got anything to come up? You got a plug, social media wise? Let people know. Plug your radio station.
Yep,
Go
every Thursday, News Talk 1110 at 6:50. I do my segment on millennials.
Is that a AM station?
It's 1110 AM, 99.3 FM.
Okay.
We got both, and really funny. And I school boomers
Okay, Boomer.
week in and week out. Yes, exactly. Actually, this week will feature OK Boomer. So 6:50, 1110 AM, 99.3 FM. Your girl Kaleigh, schooling boomers.
And I do stand-up comedy occasionally. The next thing is going to be in January in Greensboro.
Okay, you've been getting back out there. You get a job that's a more conducive and stuff like that. I'm glad to see you making the rounds.
working.
I miss your smiling face. I miss both of your
Thanks.
smiling
No.
faces. So it was very nice to get you guys back in here. Zane, you got anything coming up?
Oh,
This
no.
is going to come out not this week, but the next. So all of December, basically.
Is this Louisville, Kentucky for you?
Louisville, it'll be FSCW, Louisville, Kentucky, all of that.
I will be PWX in Charlotte, like a jabroni. And then I'll be Queens of Combat at WrestleCade.
Yep. It'll be WrestleCade, and then I've got Wrestling Revolver at the end of December. I've also got a couple other dates. I got a $5 Wrestling December 20th. Make sure you show up for that at Hebron
I
Hall.
do have that down.
Okay. So I got a lot of exciting stuff coming up, which you can get notification about that by getting on my Twitter account at ManScoutManning or on Instagram at ManScoutManning. If you have any questions about the show, make sure you email me at manscoutmanning@yahoo.com. If you want to buy a How Did This Get Booked t-shirt, go to howdidthisgetbooked.com. I don't know why you would do that when all you can do is just leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Stitcher. Sitting on top of the poll right now for Apple Podcasts is Nick Olesa. And sitting on top of the poll of Stitcher is Gabriel Kidd. Nothing has changed from the week before, nor will it change next week either. Because we already recorded that episode.
Now that we know.
And we definitely know about that.
I
But
have one more thing whenever you get done.
You got one more thing?
Yes.
Oh, well, I'm about ready to ramp
Yeah, I
up.
know.
So
I was
go
about to say,
ahead.
I saw it. And it reminds me because earlier we talked about this person. Our good friend, now your good friend, Lucas Calhoun.
Okay.
He's been doing a thing. I have a show December 7th in Richmond, Virginia. he's been doing a thing where, as part of a like theater class, I believe, or some sort of class, he has been having the kids watch wrestling. He's been teaching a wrestling class, and these kids are putting on their very own show to raise money for the school.
That's awesome.
And they are writing the storylines, and they are drawing the posters, and they will be ring announcing and walking wrestlers to the ring, and they're going to decide who wins everything. And I believe they're like making a character that someone will be. So that'll be December 7th in Richmond, Virginia.
Yes, I remember him talking about it's a very good deal. And I believe it's a free show,
Yeah,
if I'm not
it
mistaken.
probably is free.
I'm almost positive he was saying it was going to be a free show because of the shows and the nature of it and it being a part of a class.
You
So
can't pay for. Yeah.
You might want to tell them, though, that if it's a fundraiser, you might want to charge some money.
yeah, it's a fundraiser. I think it's more like a
raise the
pass the hat type
Yeah,
thing.
it
Show
does.
up, see a show.
Wrestling bake sale.
Hey, who wants to be the show this kid? If not, give me $20.
Much like what we do comedy, the comedy pass the tip jar around. It's very similar to that.
Who wants to shut up? Put some money in here. We'll get out of your way.
And we won't, but just do it anyway.
But
There's 10 more behind me, motherfuckers.
But please don't stop subscribing, leaving reviews. I can't thank you guys enough for leaving reviews. It really, really, really helps, especially on Apple Podcasts. I can't thank you enough. Also, big thank you to Don from Six Squirrel Studios. Make sure you log on to sixsquirrelstudios.com for all your podcasting needs. Like I said, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, SoundCloud, wherever podcasts are available. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another edition of How Did This Get Booked?
Woo! Who's my thing?